Hi there, I'm Jane Lofton. Sorry to repeat for those in the room. And we're about to start a Twitter session for the AASL 17 conference in just a couple of minutes, well, at 10:10 local time. And we're just going to try doing this as a hangout on air so that you can follow along if you'd like. And I'm going to get the link. And tweet it. Oh my goodness, we have stuff in the feed we could live without. Yes, it's ASL Full Caps 17. And Katie, why don't you come up to the screen and introduce yourself, and then we'll go into screen share so that people don't have to see us the rest of the session.
Morning, guys. I'm Katie McNamara, high school teacher librarian at North High School in Central California. I also teach adjunct for the library credential program for Fresno Pacific.
And for those of anyone who may be watching the Hangout, we're going to go to screen share. And we will be starting the session in a couple of minutes, well, 4 minutes, right? So if you're watching us on air, stand by. A couple of minutes. Is this mine? Is this yours? Oh, you probably do. Okay.
Right, yeah, they're at the top of the slide.
Blog post my next session, so I thought I would kind of
Is yeah, Smart City Network is RY5, and it's ASL all caps. You're good. Yeah, you just close that, and then the bit.ly is in the top right-hand corner. If you want to go ahead and click that in, that has full access to the slideshow. If you're a multi-tab person, we do that too. You can more towards tab.
So I noticed that you can
you're gonna be in top.
Oh. Yeah, and it's full caps. Yeah, ASL 17 full caps is the Wi-Fi. And if you have trouble getting to it, this morning I restarted my computer and then it was able to find it. Before that, it wouldn't take me, to the screen to put in the password. So, oh, thank you.
You are welcome.
It's grad time. Okay, so should we just get started? Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. It looks like we're going to have a small group, so don't be shy. Maybe move up. Yeah. I'm Jane Lofton. I am a teacher librarian these days in the wild because I retired a year ago last June as a high school librarian, but I just can't stop. And actually this fall I started, I've been teaching part-time for Rutgers University, teacher librarian or school librarian preparation program, which I'm really excited to be doing. And I love learning and I love social media and its power to, enhance our learning. And the other thing I'll mention on this slide is we do have a link to the slides. So if you go to that bit.ly, you can follow along. And you'll want that at least later because we have a lot more slides than we're ever going to get through this morning. And Katie?
I'm Katie McNamara. I'm a high school teacher librarian in Central California. I also teach adjunct for the library credential program for Fresno Pacific. Like Jane mentioned, similar with clubbing learning, empowering students, getting as much into our classes as possible. And social media is a great venue for that, but only if you know how to use it. I am that one person that had a class where one of the requirements was to get a Twitter account. I made a Twitter account. I didn't tweet anything for years. Special class about learning how to tweet. You know who my teacher was? Yeah, it was Jane. So like my first tweet ever is all about her too.
And now Katie's the one I go to say, so what chat should I be on? What chat should I be recommending? Because she's gone way past me. But anyway, this is the first time we've talked about Twitter together, so this is kind of exciting. We're looking forward to it. We'll have it on the next, it's a bit.ly ASL 17 Twitter session. Also, I don't know whether it's working with the volume and all, but we decided to set up a Hangout, so just be aware if you raise your hand and ask a question, your voice could be in the Hangout. So we have lots and lots to cover. So probably Mary Franz, our facilitator, will you kind of let us know when we're, like quarter of the way through, halfway through, to keep us moving. And we're going to go through some of it really quickly, but then you're going to have time, if you don't have an account, to create one. And if you do, to get going on a scavenger hunt, which with a little luck, you'll get done during this session, or you have the rest of the conference to do it, right? And we'll say it at the room. I'll try and remember to remind you at the end, but any sessions I do, and I know it's the same for Katie, come with lifetime tech support. So please get in touch with us if you have any questions or anything after the session. And Katie was going to go through these slides, but since she's busy, I'm going to get started. So we're going to really quickly kind of talk through some of the reasons why you want to be on Twitter. Well, for one thing, so many of us are, do feel isolated if we're at a school site. Oh, I know, you know what we forgot to do is ask her where you are. How many of you already have a Twitter account? So anyone, how many don't? Okay, so we're gonna do our best to work, for both groups. How many of you feel like, you have a Twitter account, but you really are not sure what to do with it? Okay. How many of you feel pretty proficient but want to take it to the next step? And how many of you are here just to hear how we do it because you're beyond us? I think there's at least a few people in the room. Okay. So that'll give us an idea, and we're going to do our best to address all of you. But if we don't during the session, just see us afterwards, okay? So why Twitter? Well, for one thing, you get connected. You join a customized, supportive community online. It builds a unique to you personal learning network for nonstop, anytime learning and support. And of course, that's what librarians need, right? It's a place where you can ask questions. You can targeting individuals, experts in a field. Do you want to take over?
I ask questions, and it's really cool. I promise you. I ask a question and I get more answers than I've ever given. Fast, like that, really. Crowdsourcing, great source there. Engaging in the conversation, so it's not just giving, because you can't be selfish with your learning, right? You can share your great ideas too, and all of you are doing great stuff in your classroom, so share it.
Yeah, and you can start by lurking, you can start by just following, but what you want to use Twitter for is conversations.
Keeping you current, there's some new ideas I'm not going to know about. I only talk to the teachers in my little school district, in my one little city, but getting access to Twitter, I know what other people are doing, the latest, greatest, that maybe I do want to interact and bring back into my class and talk to my teachers about. Research is like this power sourcing like our keynote talked about yesterday. I don't have to do research all by myself, and I hardly Google anything. I'll go to my Twitter friends. Hey, what's a good source for X? And I have my resources right away. And so it's also like vetted because I only interact with educators.
And also, while obviously not everyone's on Twitter, in any field you can imagine that your students may want information on, there's going to be some experts in that field who they can learn from and maybe even connect directly with.
And the experts love talking to your students. And it's like you got an expert for free. Bonus there. Quickly scanning your information, no long-term commitment required. And think of it like a radio station. If there's really good stuff, it's going to come up again. So if you get to where like, oh my goodness, my Twitter feed is too much, you don't have to read it all. Let yourself, let it go. Then more things will come up again. Constant source of inspiration, new information, and ideas. All of us unfortunately have those days of like your positivity is kind of down. I know what hashtags I can go to now that give me a positive uplift. I know one thing. Joyful leaders is one I go to all the time. I'm just having a rough morning, like okay, I need to get in the right frame of mind. First speed post will be something positive to get me in the right mindset for my staff and students. Sharing your ideas and contribute to your community, not being in that silo. Participate in the back channel to enhance conferences, presentations. We have a Twitter hashtag for this conference. So if you're torn between sessions because the conference is amazing, there's people tweeting out from the other sessions too. So looking at our hashtag AFL 17, you'll see the good stuff that's happening in other sessions or the keynotes and different activities going on.
Yeah, for me, it really has become my notes for the conferences, my tweets and other people's tweets.
Promoting your library programs, and I'm going to do a confession. As Jane and I were reading this together, she's like, oh, we need to highlight your library Twitter. Oh, really? I didn't have one. And it's been on my mind to do it, and I tried to get it started a couple of years ago, but all the hashtags or all the handles I used were taken. I was like, whatever, I'll get back to it then. I did get it started just a couple weeks ago with this. Advocating for social justice. And virtually all that applies to students. I'm sorry, and virtually all that applies to students as well, because we want them to have those connections, them learning how to crowdsource.
And we, so, you know, all that applies to you, and most of it, you know, also applies to your students. But in addition, with your students, at least if they're, you know, high school students, you know, over 13 can have their own accounts. I really encourage you to get them on Twitter. It's a wonderful way for them to build their a positive digital footprint. You know, as I would tell my students, you all have a digital footprint. You want it to be a positive one. And this is a great place to do see their feeds, and it's one great tool for their digital footprint. You know, and I guess have them look for experts in a field that they want to do research on and ask them questions. They don't always get answers, but sometimes they do. In a few places in the presentation, I have links to, and I just covered it. A while back, I did a voice thread where I asked some of the rock stars like Joyce Valenza to say why they love Twitter and ways to use it. And if you go to that link later, you'll hear what she has to say about students using Twitter for research. Have students, one of the things that you can do that I've done in projects with students is have them create an account where they take on the identity like of a mythological character, and then they'd have conversations between, you know, all the different mythological characters, applying what they were learning to how those characters would deal with the modern world. And they had some really interesting conversations, and it introduced them to Twitter at the same time. If you're interested in that, I have a hyperlink you can follow later to the instructions for that assignment. And of course, that's mythology, but you could apply it to virtually any subject area, novel study, studying a period in, you know, history, so on. Have students tweet book trailers and tag the author. They might just hear back from that author. It's a lot of authors are on Twitter. Use Twitter examples to teach close reading of text and evaluation of credibility. You know, have them learn, you know, is this a verified account? Where did it come from? And so on. And the Stanford study we've all heard about has some examples of using Twitter to teach close reading and to teach learning to evaluation of sources. It's a great PR for your school and your school library activities, you know, and you can get your students involved in that PR by letting them, if you have like a classroom account, letting them participate in it, or a library account, remind them of activities and tasks and so on. And if you have younger students, consider having a class account or a library account that the whole class can participate in. And there's a link to an article by Alice Keeler talking about that. So if you don't have to have, and those of you who don't yet have an account, you don't have to have one in order to go to Twitter. When you go, they make you think that you gotta open an account right away, but you don't. You can lurk. And what you do is you just go to Twitter and you do a search, and you can go to search.twitter.com, and that will take you to the search screen, and you don't have to have an account to start searching. So what we're gonna do now is I am logged in, but we don't have a very nice image up there. We've gotten some spam. In your search box, what you want to do is type hashtag ASL17. You can also search for not at ASL. And I'm also doing at ASL. So what that will do is that will get me any tweets that have the ASL17 hashtag in it, any tweets that have the not at ASL, and anything that comes from the ASL account. Really important, the or needs to be full caps. It doesn't work if it's lowercase. You know, any of the hashtags, anything else, the case doesn't matter, but the or, it does matter. So let's do a search. Unfortunately, we have a better tweet up at the top now. And when you go, actually, I already had this open, so when you first go to it, you're gonna see the top tweets. What are those? Those are ones that got attention either because somebody liked them, favorited them, or retweeted them or something, and that's cool if you want an overview. But most of the time, I want to know the live feed. So what you want to do after you put that search in the search box is click on latest. And now you're going to see the most recent tweets with, of course, the first ones at the top. And then what I do is I just start scrolling down, and you'll notice the ones with images get more attention, or, you know, catch your attention more. And I start looking for things. And do we have a tweet out there you want me to look at? Is it, did it just come through, or?
It's real active there.
Yeah, my friend Katie here did a tweet we thought we'd look at, but my goodness. How long ago was it?
It was 1 minute ago.
Oh, this is saying 2 minutes. Okay. So you guys keep looking at that, but I'm going to focus in on one tweet. This one? So that, and if you're on the slides, I have things labeled on them, but we thought we'd do a live tweet so that you could follow it better. Are you going to cover this, or am I? I forget. You want me to go through it?
Okay. What we have here too, though, is the power of the hashtag. So ASL17 already has tons of stuff going on, but we're going to also add a secondary hashtag for what we're doing. So if we search with that hashtag, it'll be a little bit smaller, the ASL17 learn to tweet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's just for this session. So if you, I just told you to put in a search, and I'm sorry I'm going to ask you to switch for a moment to ASL L2T. In other words, learn to tweet. And that's a hashtag I've used for, see up at the top of the screen there, hashtag AASL L2T. And we're just going to use that for this session. I've used it in classes that I've taught on Twitter. And so is this the tweet we want? Okay.
So it's just posted and giving some extra attention to hear how quickly it happens. And then also you can see how it's kind of varied already, because this is a huge conference. But if you want to fine tune stuff, you see your secondary hashtag. Also the trick Jane showed you about putting the or. I love that you can now do the Boolean searches up there. So we could also search for it with ASL17 and my name, knowing that I was the person that tweeted it.
And so let's just sort of go over, I have a slide for it, but for your reference later, but let's just go over this tweet live. So what are the components of this, or what's the anatomy? This is Katie's account name. And actually there could be multiple Katie McNamara's. They don't limit, you know, how many people can have the same account name. Her handle, though, is unique. If nobody else can get on there and have Katie J. McNamara, because she has it now, okay? Actually, here's me. My account name is Jane Lofton, no spaces. My handle is Jane_librarian. Frankly, if I had it to do over again, I would have both the same if I could. I haven't changed because Jane Lofton, @ Jane Lofton's not available because there's a woman in Florida who created an account, never used it. And I know she never uses it because she didn't respond to my message to her, say, please, if you're not tweeting, can I have that? But anyway, it's by me, if you're thinking about creating an account, it's easier to have them the same, although like Katie had to add her initial because Katie McNamara, I guess, wasn't available.
And that's a really great trick. I was setting up a Twitter for my son, who is Patrick McNamara, and that was taken. And same thing, still taken because what we call people that don't put a picture up yet. Like no tweets for years. Like, okay, you'll just do the mommy trick. But a J is not the but they can only be 15 characters, and Patrick is lower than Katie, so he could get that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't have an account, be thinking about what you want your account name and your handle to be, and shorter is usually better. and things you can add is like, your work, like librarian. If I had it to do over again, I don't think I'd do an underscore. That's hard, sometimes for people to see. So what else is in this tweet? This is telling us how long ago it was posted. This is the text, of course. And then she @signed me. What's that doing? That's going to send me an alert that she's done a tweet with me in it. So I'm more liable to see it. Okay. Also notice all the things in blue, the handles and the hashtags, those are searchable. So if I click on this, I could search for Jane _ for my handle. If I click on this, I'm searching for ASL 17. Okay. I'm going to go back for right now. Also, other things that I can do, I can like this tweet. Oh, and see, there's been 2 since from Ashley and Polly. Thank you. I can like the tweet, and that puts it in a list that does 2 things. It's kind of a nod to Katie to tell her that she'll get a notification that I liked the tweet, and it also saves it in my list of favorites. It will make it easier for me to find it later if I want to. I can retweet it, and when I click retweet, it opens up a box where I can just do a retweet, and then it will just show exactly the way it did, but just at the very top in very little type, it will say retweeted by, Jane Librarian. Or I can add a comment, in which case it will be the original tweet will be indented underneath, and my comment will be at the top. So it's a nice to add your own comments. On the other hand, you do downplay the size of the original tweet a bit. I'm just going to retweet it. Also, I could respond to her. If I do this, it automatically responds to Katie.
Sometimes if you're like me, like, oh, that was so fabulous, I'm going to retweet it. Oh, wait, I didn't want to just retweet. So see where it was retweeted? It's now green. So we can click on that again and undo the retweet. And I can retweet again. And this time, type in what I had meant to say beforehand. Sometimes you just press that button too fast because you're excited. That's a nice way to undo it quickly and put in some more information.
And then I may, if I want to be sure that I'm getting it to that same hashtag, I'll put the hashtag in again. Or I might want to send it out to a different audience. I'm not going to right now, but this might be something I want to send to TL chat or to, my state hashtag, that sort of thing. Okay, so I think we covered everything about these. There's other things to do here. Most of these you don't need right away. Oops.
Oh, one thing that's nice. Can we show the edit one or the delete button? In the drop-down arrow, click that. So if you find those typos because you're like on your cell phone going real fast, oh, I know how to spell those words. You can delete, but you can't edit. So that's the one bummer there. And then if you do that,
see, obviously I can't delete Katie's tweet, but I should be able to, because this is my tweet, I could delete that.
The character update that we were going to get the edit tweet update.
right, because then like by the time I catch it, sometimes people already like retweeted it, liked it, like, I'm not going to take all that away. They know I really know the difference between the your and your.
So I think that kind of covers everything that's in there. So let's move on to, well, the power of the hashtag.
Power of the hashtag. So hashtag is pretty much your index, how you find stuff. If you are interested in anything, there's probably a hashtag for it. You might just have to like tweak how it is, like the hashtag for this conference isn't all right now, American Association, blah, 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 blah. It's shortened. So that's one way you can find information. If you're interested in social studies, there's a hashtag for that. Virtual reality, there's a hashtag for that. Any little thing you want to find out about, there's a hashtag. And in your slide deck, you have links to popular hashtags that exist related to education. It's not all inclusive, but they keep popping up like even today, introduced a new hashtag.
But also it's a way that it's a way for you to search, but it's also a way, you start off on Twitter. How are people going to follow you? Because they're not going to see your tweets, because it's not going to show up in their timeline because they don't follow you. If you tweet to like TL Chat, because it's something that is probably the granddaddy of school librarian hashtags. Anything I think is of general interest to school librarians, I'll use TL Chat. The only time I don't usually is if I'm in a conference like this, because the conference hashtag is overwhelming as it is. People will see it when they're searching for TL Chat, and they'll hopefully go, gee, Jane has some good things to say. I think I'll follow her, right? So it works both ways. And there's just about every state has hashtags. You be using those too. Okay. It's time to start on a couple of things. We have a scavenger hunt for you, whether you're brand new or whether you already have an account. You can participate in the scavenger hunt, and if you're already on the slides, just click on this link. Otherwise, type in, is everyone on the slides now?
I couldn't get on.
It's bit.ly. What's the link for the?
It's all lowercase, bit.ly /ASL Twitter session. Sorry, ASL 17 Twitter session.
And then what you want to do is go to the scavenger hunt. So I'm going to open that up. And you'll see that there are some activities. And if you already have an account, you've probably done number one. If not, we're going to be walking through opening an account in just a minute. And we like having people follow us, so please follow us and we'll follow you back. Also, if you, anything that you tweet with the ASL L2T hashtag, we will know, we will respond, and we will follow you for sure. If I don't follow you and you're a school librarian, it's because it was an omission, because I missed you. So let me know. I follow all school librarians. The next thing that you can do, if you already have an account, is you can post a tweet saying you're in the session with us. Some of you already have, and share something you've learned. Be sure, please, to include both of these hashtags in your tweet. And better yet, add a photo. Now, if you have a photo on your computer, you can add it. One of the reasons, I'm a slow typer on my phone, but one of the big reasons that I do use my phone at conferences is if I can't get on, Wi-Fi, but also if I want to take pictures of the speaker, of the screen or something, then I have it right on my phone to tweet. So you want to get started on that. And did everybody get the link to the scavenger hunt? Because you want to do that. Okay, it's bit.ly/AASL17 Twitter. And so raise your hand if you're not on it. Would you mind going around and helping people, Mary Fran? Thanks. Oh, well, you know what? Write down the link to the slides and you'll have everything for later, okay? So actually, Katie was going to talk about a personal or a library account. Yeah. And it is case sensitive, and this is all lowercase. I used to try and capitalize the things that I thought ought to be caps, like the T in Twitter. And you know what? That sometimes causes people more trouble with bit.lys, because bit.lys are case sensitive.
It's not open.
The scavenger hunt isn't opening? It did on mine.
I had to click present on the slide, and then I was able to click the link.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's, wait, what
Or just the link, the click link isn't working unless you're in present mode. But just type that bit.ly, okay? So who still needs the bit.ly for the scavenger hunt? Okay, after you do her, Mary Fran, if you don't mind, a couple of people in the back row. Do you want me to go help them while you talk about personal versus library account? Hmm? No, I did with the link. It's ASL 17 Twitter. All right, I'll go try and, shall I go try and help them while you move on? Okay, who needs help getting on the scavenger hunt?
So as she helps you guys out, I'm going to talk just a little bit about this.
Okay.
Okay, good. So having a juggling of accounts is when you're like way overwhelming at the beginning. So you would say, let's not do that. Prioritize starting off with a personal account first. So like, well, my admin wants me to really get a library account or whatever. You want to get a feel for Twitter before you make a school account anyway. So doing your personal professional one first is important. Thinking about your handle, and you do really want your name in there in some capacity. If it's taken, we showed you a couple of tricks. Another one is saying like EDU at the end of your name, or lib. If you can avoid numbers, that seems to be better. And for some reason, the underscores are going to get put down a little bit. So some variation of your name there. Once you feel comfortable with it, then go ahead and consider getting one for your library. But not until you have personal, if you want to be able to also monitor back and forth. So this is the one I made for my school. It's the handle NHS Stars LIB. It's really North High Stars. Of course, the obvious ones were taken, like North High, North Central, all of that stuff. And I've already changed it a little bit because I started with my name, Katie McNamara at NHS Stars Lib, and I decided that probably wasn't the right thing to do. And I had that conversation with my students, and we're learning about how to make the Twitter account accessible and meaningful and easy to find. So I took my name out of the beginning of it and re-put North High Library. Even though there's tons of North High libraries, with the name part, it can be anything.
And I would urge you to, is anyone, if you don't need to raise your hand, but if you have an account that is a library account and you don't have a personal account, go the other direction today, create a personal account, because you are a professional and you aren't your library. You represent your library, you advocate for your library, but you aren't your library. And someday you may not be there, but even if you stay there for, you know, the rest of your life, you are a separate person. And there are going to be times when you're going to want to do tweets, the same tweet from both, but there's going to be a lot of times like you want to tweet a lot at this conference. Frankly, your students and your parents and your staff don't want to see 5,000, well, I'm exaggerating a little bit, tweets from this conference. But you want to be able to do that. So that's why you really need, you don't want it to have one account that does both. One account just doesn't do both.
Let's kind of show the bad example of that. Can you open my library page? So I didn't do this fix yet, just so you guys can see how yucky it is. I'm planning to take some screenshots.
What is it? Where is there a link to it?
And just yeah, you'll have to go back to Twitter. Sorry.
And put in what?
At NHS Stars LIB.
Here, and notice, because I follow it, it came up right away.
So I warned you, I'm just starting, so I'm finding out all the like yuckies about it and whatnot. I would, even though you're not your library, definitely put your name in the bio with it. I'm probably going to change that and make it my handle too, so it's also more searchable that way. I would pin tweet about what we're doing, so I wanted positivity. A lot of my students aren't using Twitter well, don't have an account yet, so we did the Gratitude Snap Challenge is how I started. And now I'm having the conversation with my students about who the library should follow. And my students are the first ones to tell me, not me, we don't need that stuff popping up. But right now I have my library following me. And like Jane just said, no one else cares about what I'm tweeting. So if you scroll, that's a pinned tweet, but if you scroll down, oh, we're in the top ones. Let's go to latest.
No, this is,
Oh, we are.
this is you're thinking of it from your, because see, I'm the one logged in.
Okay. Some of the things from this conference will pop up on that page they have, so I only have to unfollow myself. But when I wanted to post on this page, real easy, just to tag my library, or I can go in as my library and retweet my KD accounts.
And we have some slides, like actually if you later, you don't want to do that immediately. If you use TweetDeck, you can put in 2 accounts. If you do it on your phone, you can put it in 2 accounts.
Those of you that already have your personal account, juggling a second one is really easy on a mobile device. I think it's a lot easier there than on a computer. So if you want to see how it looks on my phone, we can do that. But it's just a quick click and it'll change. Another click, it changes back. The only thing to be mindful of is make sure you know which account you're tweeting from. I had to
Yeah, and I've made that mistake. But I mean, remember, one of the sort of, well, we'll get to etiquette. One of the rules of Twitter is never post anything that you aren't okay with the whole world seeing. That applies to every social media. So even if you make that faux pas of posting from the wrong account, it may not be particularly appropriate for the audience that's following it, but there's nothing inappropriate, you know, nothing wrong about it. So, and we all make those mistakes.
So I think to learn lessons. I did a gratitude snap about my husband, and he replied, should have, and I had already tagged my library, so now his response is showing up in my library. He did like, Charlotte, that's cool with you and I, but my teenagers really don't need to see that comment.
But yeah, so I mean, you may, if you go from the wrong account, you may do something that's not but nothing will be inappropriate because you're never going to post anything that's not okay with the whole world seeing. Yeah.
I was following the little sign. And I put a photo assignment, and all it is showing in TweetDeck is chest. So it's terrible. I mean, that's why I get a little frustrated.
Well, and TweetDeck in particular crops the picture smaller. Click on the picture to see it larger. But I know it's if you're doing a photo that's really important, you probably want to experiment with sizes so that, you know, like keep all the important stuff kind of like in the middle, with kind of think of it like a picture frame, so that you don't have anything that'll be cut off. Yeah.
The way that it shows up in for you as the user generating content is not the way the audience is good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Anyway, we're just about for the new people to create an account, and let me just go over one thing, and then I'll get to you. Okay.
The same topic.
No. Okay. Go ahead first.
Oh, is it just the top of the photo that it go towards? Or not? So vertical pictures tend to like show up smaller like this, and it'll take some off of both of them. So I do a lot of app smashing, we call it. When I use Snapchat to add my layers, but I want that text to show up, so I'm playing with actually like, where does that line need to be? So it does take some off the top and the bottom. If you do the horizontal, which we know how to hold a camera, but we don't know how to hold our phone that's working as a camera. So we do a lot this way instead of going horizontal. So the horizontal images do transfer better. So just getting used to it. It does, yes, take off some of the top and some of the bottom. But the user and yourself, you can always click on the image and then it blows it up big.
Yeah.
They get the full effect.
And if you're doing something important like an advertisement for an event or something like that, there's many ways to do this, but what I would do a lot is I go into Canva, and it has the right dimensions for all sorts of different types of social media posts. So then I choose Twitter post and import my photo or whatever into it, and I know that it's going to be sized right. And I should be able to tell you offhand what those dimensions are, and I don't remember, but if you go into Canva, you will see those dimensions, and I can get back to you later with that if you want. Yeah. 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 Anyway, I want to make sure we have time for the new people to create their accounts, so that's why I'm rushing on. Bless you. Things you want that are really, really important when you create your account, your photo or avatar. And this is, it took me a long time to let go of my avatar because I opened my account in 2007. And that's when I was trying to maintain some level of privacy. That's part of why my handle doesn't have my last name in it too. And I really love my avatar. She always looks so much better than I do. But I did a conference that you're more liable to recognize me if you've seen my photo than if you've seen this lovely version of me that I would like to look like, you know? My hair actually used to be closer to that red than this going gray red and getting darker anyway. But your account name, your handle are really important. Your bio is really, really important. In general, if I don't know someone, I'm not going to follow them unless they have a bio that tells me. And you want to make those characters count. You want to get in about being a school librarian, things that you're interested in. I didn't know until recently you can add hashtags to, and I just added ASL 17 social media to my hashtag, and that way I show up more often when you search for ASL 17. So those are things you want to think about. And a lot of other settings, but those are the most important things to think about first. You don't want to leave this conference without a photo or avatar. If you want to be real private, go with, an avatar, or I have a friend who's a beautiful flower, but I urge you to do a photo and a bio. So if you don't have an account, this is the time. What you want to do is go to twitter.com and sign up. And it's going to walk you through all sorts of steps. Mind before you get started is say no to all the suggestions to follow people and interests. Just say later, 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 skip, 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 because you don't want to start following accounts, in mass. You want to do them slowly so that you don't have an overwhelming timeline feed at first. And you don't really want to follow too many people until you've built some sort of profile. Because if you follow someone who doesn't know you and then they look at you to see whether to follow you back and you have no tweets, you have sort of no track record, they're less liable to follow you than if you wait a little bit and you've got a few tweets out there so they can see that you're a good person to follow, right?
Initially, it'll give you like 30 celebrities. I think Ellen DeGeneres is always one of them. It has them all clicked and you're ready to follow, and it's not clear how to unfollow them. At the very top of all that mess, there'll be a checkbox. If you click that, then it'll get rid of all the checkmarks. You don't need to follow those people.
Also, you can only theoretically have one Twitter account per email. And sometimes people will say, it won't let me sign up because it says I already have one. So that means you have an account you forgot. So what to do? Two things. You can retrieve that password. You can always change your username. You can change your handle. If you haven't really used that account, you can kind of like reinvent it. But if you have an account, like say maybe you created an account for your school with your Gmail account and now you want a personal one. There is a workaround, and that is with Gmail. Anything after, see where I have Jane Lofton +5? If you put a plus in, anything after that, Twitter will ignore, but it will just come to your regular janelofton@gmail.com account. So you can make it, you could have all sorts of accounts with the same Gmail. So that's one way if you have problems. So I'm going to urge those of you who don't have an account to go to Twitter, sign up, and start putting in, a username. And that doesn't have to be unique. It will take whatever you put. Then you need to put in your, your email, and then it's going to ask you for your handle, and that does have to be unique. If it's the one you want is not available, then you need to kind of try and think of something else. And you can experiment with it for a while, but I would say in the next several days, you want to land on one that you're going to probably be pretty happy with long term, because otherwise, people get to know that handle, and it's going to be harder for them to follow you and find you if you keep changing your handle. So.
All right, so we set up the library Twitter account. What can you do when somebody hijacks it? I mean, they post something that's inappropriate. Can we get that off of there for the admin for the library account?
We can report it, but I don't think, like James showed earlier, we can't delete other people's tweets. So you would have to report that to Twitter, and they do take care of things.
See, let's say that I don't like this Katie person. I think she did something inappropriate. I can do report tweet, and it will ask me, is it abusive, is it spam, whatnot, and then I can block her so that I won't see her again. And I've been doing that with all the junk, unfortunately, that's been coming up with the ASL 17 hashtag. It doesn't mean it's going to go away. However, when you report accounts, they do often, Twitter will respond and will suspend those accounts if they're spam accounts or X-rated accounts.
And when your accounts do get more active, that's when you get more scam issues. So it's like a backwards compliment. But yeah, you don't want that on your account, so those two issues block again.
Yeah. But also, if you're searching for a hashtag, like you may see that inappropriate stuff, but if they're searching for you, your library account, they're only going to see the things that you posted. So it's not going to be an issue about having X-rated stuff when your admin searches for your account. You know, you may be seeing that stuff in your timeline, but they're not going to see it when they search for you. Okay, so if we're going to assume that you want a few minutes to create your account, and we'll try and help you if you need help with it. Okay, so we have like sort of detailed directions here, but it really is just kind of walking you through the things that just actually, you want to actually read the prompts. You know, I know that's annoying when you're creating an account, but read the prompts. So we're going to give you a little sandbox time, and if you have an account, we want you to be working on the scavenger hunt. So go ahead and start wherever you are in the process. If you're creating your account, do that. But if you have an account, start working your way through this list. And I know it looks like a long list, but it's things that you want to be doing here at the conference anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and search for this hashtag and see what we got here. And see Ashley? That's Ashley over there. Shout at her if you need help. Yeah. 10 minutes? Okay. Okay, how are you guys doing? People need help? Well, you know what?
So you have, I'm using your first all the time, I do your. Okay. You're the only one, so I know, okay. Well, I would just, I would. Okay, so. No. Yeah, I just say Twitter, but yeah, but it was a. Oh, but I shorter way that way, wasn't it? And then again, so are you very like Twitter? I thought, I was looking for my tweet. I was sorry. Yeah. Just learned about
So like I got a ton of things that I'm already so I don't. Well, my first one was like that. Okay, and if I need to, or whatever, actually,
so mine is. Right, so if you actually plus all of that. Yeah. And you can search like hashtag. I know, yeah, how are you? And so like, yeah, right here, it's just like grab. I know, right? I do too.
If you put out this right here, it allows you to, so you can just look for certain users. If you use the, okay, you can also use it towards. So like, I have that page,
Okay. I know that we say that multitasking, you know, that sometimes we don't do anything as well when we're multitasking. But let's face it, we are multitaskers. And I'm going to urge you when you're at a conference to be following the conference hashtag while you're listening. And you can tweet good comments. And you can also see what other people said that will kind of reinforce the things that that the speaker said. But also, I want to be sure while you're working on the scavenger hunt, I want to be sure that we have just 10 minutes left. There's just a handful of things we wanted to be sure to cover during this session. We have a lot of slides we won't get to that you can look at later, but I want you to know about the social media contest. How many of it, is there anyone who hasn't heard about the social media contest? Okay, every day during the conference, we're looking for social media posts in various categories. The most informative post, the most entertaining, best picture, best selfie, best notes, best group photo, and best not at ASL. And we have the social media editorial board and some other helpers from the social media squad are monitoring posts and judging them. And every day we're recognizing like a top post or one of the, you know, and a winner in each of these categories. And you folks in this room could be those winners. Even today. We already did Wednesday and Thursday, and we're ending it at 5 each day so that we have time to judge. And then so like the stuff that happened after 5 yesterday is going to count as part of today. So how do you enter? You don't need to fill in an entry form or anything, just do posts. you know, these various categories, and you could be a winner. And also look for the posts that we send out about who the winners are. Those are going to be good people, you know, but to follow. Okay. Some other things that you want to be absolutely sure to do very soon is to check and adjust your security and privacy settings to make them work for you. You know, how many notifications do you want? How private do you want to be? One thing though, please, by default, your account is public, and it should be. Don't go in and make it private and have it so that people have to request to follow you. You know, you won't get followers. You won't build your personal learning network that way. You have to be willing to share with the world. So, make sure that you know, if any of you already have a private account, change it and don't make your account private. And I think we have lots of slides, and I promised Katie, I think that we would jump to, what are we going to jump to? I think etiquette and chats, right? So do we know what number that is so I can get right to it?
47.
Okay, etiquette. You're going to do this one, right?
So you want to be nice. Going to be that model of good citizenship. And good digital citizenship is really like go through your concept in real life too. You want to do that online as well. So when you retweet, that's a compliment to following people that are in your field that you want to follow. That's also having that proper etiquette. Being careful about what you overshare. If you're doing this as a professional thing, don't talk about where you're eating every single day. But maybe like it is a picture of a meal because, yay, this is what you did in your library as a celebration thing. You know, so those little bits. Having a little bit of personal is okay, but there's kind of like an 80-10 or 80-20 thing there, so people know you are a person, just like a robot teacher. That works.
Yeah, I used to think that everything had to be serious. And then actually Gwyneth Jones, who's a great person to follow, the Daring Librarian, she did a post about, you know, what percentage of your tweets should be whatnot. And I realized that by having a little personality come out, that made people get to know me better and be more liable to follow me. So a little bit is nice. Too much is too much. And then we were going to talk about
Twitter chats are a really great way to expand your learning, but they are like fast-paced and they get intense depending on what you are following. So, for example, Teach Like a Pirate comes out from that the versus great Twitter chat. It's an hour though, and it's been like 80 people. It's overwhelming. Even for me, I've done Twitter chats a lot. So that's where I want you guys to totally feel comfortable with learning. Just looking at what pops up and watching it a little bit is completely fine. It is fast-paced. So, but then there's others that are smaller groups. Like the Oregon Ed Chat is a fabulous one put on by Heather Mars. It's a small group of people, like maybe we have about 15 there. So you're getting to know each other, plus it's only a half hour. I really appreciate the half-hour ones. It has a format, so that's the first little bit to get that the Q1 and A1 is confusing at first. If whoever's moderating, they'll say like question 1, but it'll be Q1 and then what the question is. And people will respond back to that with A1, and it follows that format. I have a girlfriend who would say, I have no idea where to be your team, so I don't get this A1, this SS, and TS. So that's what that is with the chat, and then you'll see capital T and lowercase s, that's short for teachers. And same thing, capital S, lower S is short for students. We'll do the same thing with parents, capital P and S, so that we can get maximization of our characters.
Although that may be changing how they're letting you do.
Yeah.
And I have a blog post with instructions and about how to participate in a chat if you want to follow that link.
Library focus chats, of course, are amazing. TL chat is super awesome, but do what fits in your schedule. I don't want you to think it's daunting. I had my summer Twitter chats where I did go a little overboard. It was like 3 or 4 hours I was in a Twitter chat.
Yeah, every time I go online, Katie's in a Twitter chat.
I got really good at hyperdocs, that was part of it too. But don't let it rule your life, and don't feel like you
Yeah,
have to
we're
do
one-
it every single time. If like the next week it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Family needs to be
Yeah.
more than friends, real life friends
Yeah.
are good to have.
Please do come to our college chat, which Katie and I just started. It's
California based, but everyone's welcome, and it's very small. So right now, so actually that's good in a way if you're just new to chats, because there's not that many things going by to follow, and we would love you to help us grow it.
And that
And-
was like 30 minutes.
And here's some more, and we are out of time, so come back to these.
I shared, I have the Google Calendar of all the education chats.
I have a spreadsheet here, but if you have something else, will you tweet it out? And Ashley does a chat in Arkansas,
If you
so.
go to Google and just type Twitter chat, it comes up with a Google Calendar that tells you the dates, the hashtag for the chat, and the times that it happens.
And also in it, here are this slide has some instructions on things to do during a chat. And I know we are just about out of time, so I'm gonna go to the very end and just ask you, please don't leave this conference without getting your account set up if you don't have one, or if you weren't able to during this session, without a bio, without a photo or avatar. And plan on doing like 4 tweets a day at least before you leave the conference. You don't have to keep up that pace when you go home, but during the conference, do that many, and that will help you kind of, get in the habit. And we're available throughout the conference. Come look for us. I hope you're following us on Twitter. I have cards too, and once you have cards, you want people to take them, so feel free to take a card. And here's our information and the slides again. And do the scavenger hunt if you haven't, keep working on it. And we will, you'll be able to post your little badge that you did it. So other people at the conference will go, wow, I didn't get that. How do you get that?
Got a special thing going.
Feel free to post the link to the scavenger hunt. And we are out of time. Thank you so much for coming. And we'll stay. I know some people are setting up, but I need to get to another session. Katie, I think, can stay for a couple of minutes if you have questions. And if anybody is watching online, I'm going to go ahead and